Hey everyone, Jasper/Amadeus back here again with another sound design tutorial. And today I'm going to show you how to make the screechy lead sound from Seven Lions, Trivecta, and Woolly's Island. The reason that I say that this is a sound that Trivecta doesn't want you to know is because he actually showed about half of this on his Twitch stream once. And he showed half of the silent patch and the post-processing, but he didn't show the main part of the silent patch. So today I'm going to show you how to make the full silent patch and a little bit of the post-processing that I like to do to make this sound really screechy. So first thing we're going to do here is call up Sylenth. And first, the oscillator section is about where half of this is going to get done. So the first oscillator is triangle wave with low detune, 2 voices, no stereo. Second oscillator in part A is a little bit less volume, phase adjusted a little bit, square wave, 2 voices again, low detune, full stereo. Reason that we're going to have this choice of waveforms is because we're going to be distorting the crap out of this later. And a really harmonic-y waveform like a square wave would probably have a bit too much harmonic content for us to distort later. It might start to sound pretty harsh. So the next thing that we're going to do is a really core component of this sound is the pitch modulation that gets done. And this is actually pretty difficult to do in Sylenth, so we're going to have a hack to make this work. But what we're going to do is within LFO2, go to random oscillator, which is basically a noise oscillator, and map that to pitch AB and phase AB. Turn the rate all the way up, gain most of the way up, and that right there will get you about 90% of the way there. The problem is that the maximum rate that Sylenth allows you to do is 30 hertz, which is fast, but it's not really fast enough. It'll still sound a little bit kind of old-fashioned, maybe like the Darude Sandstorm lead, actually. So what we're going to do instead, in addition to that, is use the key track. So we're going to map key track to LFO2 rate. And what that's going to do is it's going to increase the LFO2 rate based on how far up the keyboard the notes that we're playing are. And this is going to significantly increase the rate that we can get in Sylenth. So fun little hack, probably useful as well in other sound design sessions as well as this one. So next thing we're going to do is just filter out a little bit of the top end. It's, again, a pretty harmonic-y sound, and we're going to distort it a lot later. So I have a low-pass filter at around 5 or 6 o'clock cutoff, no resonance, drive all the way up, just to get it a little bit more warm and dark sounding. And a final piece of the puzzle here in Sylenth is distortion. We're actually not going to do regular distortion. We're going to do bit crush distortion. I have it all the way up wet, about 3/4 of the way up in amount. And the Sylenth bit crusher has this really interesting sound that it kind of absolutely gives some of the screechy qualities. So here's what it sounds like without the bit crusher. It just sounds like with the bit crusher. So this is just a really unique property of Sylenth. I haven't found many other bit crushers that sound quite like this. And this is one of the reasons that I think Sylenth is a good synth to use for this, despite its maybe shortcomings in the department of pitch LFO. So now we're done with Sylenth. Let's move on to the effects chain. The first thing that we're going to do is, I like to do, this step is optional, but you can do a auto filter followed by 3 OTTs. And as I explained in previous sound design tutorials, this gives your lead a little bit of a vowel-y sound, and the OTTs then kind of make it full spectrum again after you're filtering out some of the rest of the sound. I like to do it in bandpass with OSR mode and turn the drive all the way up. It's optional. Here's what it sounds like without. Here's what it sounds like with. Optional, don't have to do it, but I think it gives it a little bit nicer of a sound. Compressor, pretty much optional. Don't need to do that, but helps to even things out. And now we get to the reverb, and I put the reverb before a lot of the distortion so that the reverb kind of becomes a part of the sound itself because it's getting post-processed together. And what this does, I think, is it is good for lead sounds, especially because we want the sound to be unified. We don't want the reverb to kind of blend into the background because we want this to be in your face. I'm using Valhalla Room because it's pretty clean, sounds good on leads. About 20% wet, pretty short decay time, 2 seconds. And now we're going to get onto the distortion. So I use Sinoid Fold distortion for this, a little bit warmer than kind of regular distortion. Just a personal preference. I don't think Trivecta does it this way, but he just kind of distorts it with trash, I believe. But this is just something that I think sounds pretty good. Good, yeah. Do what you do. Really, you can distort it however you want. And then multiband distortion, which is definitely something that Trivecta does within Trash. I don't have Trash 2, so I'm just using kind of my own multiband splitter effect that I built in Ableton. And one thing that you can do with this is kind of shape the sound, almost like a little bit of a faux EQ. And you can just honestly tune the different saturations for each band to your liking. All I'm doing here is I have a saturator, stock Ableton saturator mapped to a bandpass splitter effect that I built in Ableton. The final two things are an auto filter. I'm not even distorting it within the auto filter here. I'm just taking off a little bit of the high end, and an EQ8 to take off the high end and take out some of the noise on the low end, because the noise can start to build up when you're really distorting sounds a lot. So this really helps to make it sound cleaner and layer better, because you're often going to be throwing this on top of a bunch of like polyphonic material on a kind of wall of sound drop. So you definitely don't want it to get muddy. I have found that this sound really layers well with wall of sound type drop, though. For some reason, it works really well having something pitch modulated on top of the more static sound of supersaws. So that kind of this sound can kind of give your tracks movement, and yeah, make them sound really alive. This is actually the sound that I used on track Spectrum, which I released a couple of days ago. Please check it out on my YouTube channel if you're so inclined. And a bit of an announcement about this channel is I'm going to start doing tutorials on a weekly basis for the foreseeable future. This tutorial is being released on a Friday afternoon, every Friday afternoon for the next, as long as I feel like doing it. I'm going to release some sound design tutorials. So please do subscribe if you want to get more of those, and thanks for watching.